So everybody, welcome in. Sooners on SI Crew here, wrapping up Oklahoma's 44-0 victory over the Kent State Golden Flashes. Ryan Chapman here alongside Ryan Aber, Carson Field. Boys, we just witnessed the 2025 debut as a starter of Michael Hawkins Jr., the defense's first shutout of the year. They got a couple of turnovers, and Texas lost to Florida. We'll hit all of that here quickly, but let's just start with this. Aber, so much of today was going to be the Michael Hawkins Jr. show. Finishes 14-24, 162 for 3 scores. Also racked up some yardage on the ground. What did you just make of Michael Hawkins Jr.? A little bit of a shaky start and then kind of settled in there, and then the second half was the second half.
Yeah, I thought it was solid, not overwhelming. But the biggest thing is he didn't give away plays. We didn't see them putting the ball on the ground. Didn't try to force throws into windows that really weren't there, which we saw a couple times last year. I thought maybe his best play was his first touchdown pass, where it looks like there's a chance he's going to be brought down in the backfield, is able to escape that, and then he just had a little easy pass to Isaiah Satania for the first touchdown of the day. But not just overwhelming again, but solid, which is what you wanted today from Michael Hawkins Jr.
Yeah, it was an awkward start for the Sooners in general. Really, really scary start. Michael Hawkins Jr.'s first play of the game, first offensive snap of the game for Oklahoma was a 12-yard run by Torrey Blaylock, what you want to see. And then Hawkins pushing up in the pocket, airs it out, has Keontes Lewis maybe, overshoots it, ends up colliding with the brick wall in the north end zone. If you've been around here long enough, you know, very, very tight sidelines in the state of Oklahoma. Keontes Lewis on the ground, very, very quiet. Carson, I can't imagine what it was like on the field. You guys were actually down there in that end zone. Keontes Lewis, if you guys didn't see it, hear about it, anything like that, on the radio broadcast, they had talked about him up walking around a little bit in the locker room. As a precaution, they released him to the hospital. All the initial scans were negative for injuries, positive for Keontes Lewis, but as a precaution, they took him to the hospital. But Carson, it was a very, very weird moment because in Oklahoma, everybody had to snap back in 2 plays into the game, 2 offensive snaps at least, to try and get back off the ground and get energy again after that.
I can't imagine what that's like for both teams, having to get up after 10, 15, I don't know how long that break ended up being, but it was
nearly a 10-minute break.
Yeah, it was a long break. Very thankful to hear that Keontes Lewis doing better. The scans are looking positive. We all on the field, we really didn't know what happened. Did he collide with the wall? What exactly was injured? Just a scary moment, obviously super quiet. Just really cool to see a bunch of the guys. I know Isaiah Satania was around there for so long. Brent Venables, a lot of the staff just coming around to his support. But a scary moment. Glad to hear that he's doing a lot better. But in the interim, it's a big loss. Obviously, Keontes Lewis has been great this year so far as a Sooner.
Big on third downs, especially. That's why Javonte Gibson coming back is huge, though. But it felt like after that, once you got into the third drive, Hawkins was 2 of 4. Then he ripped off 9 straight completions, and you felt like he had stabilized a little bit. The second half was really, really wonky. He was throwing off platform, stuff that I'm sure he'll want to clean up, and that he kind of talked about wanting to clean up, having some of those back. But let's just go here, Carson. If it's Michael Hawkins Jr. next week in the Cotton Bowl, did you see enough today from Michael Hawkins to feel confident for Oklahoma, or is there a lot of work to do he needs to do between now and next Saturday?
I feel confident in the sense that they can compete with Texas. Obviously, Texas lost today, but I felt like Hawkins was serviceable. If nothing else today, he did a good job. Completion percentage over 50%. It's not saying a whole lot, but he made some good throws. He made some throws that he definitely wants back. There were some that he didn't have enough time. Some of his decision-making, you question about his vision sometimes. That, especially second quarter when a couple of those drives sputtered, makes you wonder a little bit about how much his mental development has gone into it. But he looked better. He looked more polished than some of his outings. I know South Carolina, Texas, both of those were particularly rough last year. I'd say good, not great outing today for Hawkins, but he didn't need to be great against a team like Kent State.
Yeah, and with a defense like this, whether it's a team like Kent State or a defense like this, you're going to have a lot of room for error, as you said earlier, Ryan, as long as you're not turning the ball over. As far as turnovers go, the Sooners did get their first 2 of the year. The first one, finally, it was a strip sack from R. Mason Thomas. Grayson Halton picked it up. I know R. Mason, after the game, kind of joked that their last turnovers defense against LSU was the exact opposite. Grayson Halton strips it. R. Mason carries in. Jaden Hardy then came in there as well. So 2 turnovers, that's a positive. Racked up sacks, racked up tackles for loss. Got their first shutout of the year. It turns out they just needed to ditch John Mateer and finally the defense could get a shutout.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on defense today, didn't do anything exotic. It wasn't like they were, blitzing a ton or going anything outside of really their base defense for the most part. But the defensive line was dominant. Again, you saw that from the start with David Stone, Grayson Halton setting the tone really on that first drive, and it just rolled on from there. The linebackers and secondary were sort of not non-existent, but you didn't think much about them because of how dominant that defensive line was, and I thought that was a really positive sign. We knew they were really good, but the fact that they didn't have Jaden Jackson or Dominic Williams today doesn't sound like anything that's going to keep those guys out long term. They were both dressed out, just didn't warm up, didn't play. It sounds like they'll be good to go for Texas, but the guys who were in there, David Stone making his first career start. We saw obviously some big things from Grayson Halton. PJ Aber had some solid plays as well. Danny Okoye coming up big. So I thought that was big just to continue to show the depth of this defense, particularly up front.
Marcus Strong got in there as well. 13 tackles for loss, 5 sacks. Held Kent State to Check's note 17 rushing yards.
And a lot of that was late.
Yeah.
For most of the game, Tate Sandell had more points than Kent State had rushing yards.
Huge. We will have a whole section on Tate Sandell in the postgame pod. That's what I'll be writing about. I know you're thinking, guys, it's a kicker. Yeah, but we're going into OU Texas. We're about to break down that game. We know how important that is. Someone else that could be important, guys, Oklahoma's running game. That was going to be such a big focus today. Could they finally get that rolling? Sooners end up with 185 on the ground, and it was Jaden Ott, the guy who's been on a milk carton all throughout the first 4 weeks of the season. Torrey Blaylock still led Oklahoma in rushing, but Ott got in there, 11 carries, 49 yards, also had a pair of catches. Carson, in the second quarter alone, Jaden Ott doubled his season output coming into this. What did you see from Jaden Ott? I thought Torrey Blaylock looked like the same guy we've seen the first 4 weeks, but Jaden Ott had a bit more juice today than anything prior.
He definitely did. I think he kind of realized, if I don't show out in this game, I'm not sure I'm going to get to show out for the Sooners. He looked good. I mean, didn't have any just groundbreaking runs, no long touchdowns, but he looked like a serviceable part of this offense. He was fast, he was twitchy, kind of what Sooner fans hoped when they got Jaden Ott from the portal. To your point, Blaylock looked really good again. I thought the run blocking, partially a testament to how not great Kent State's defense is. The run blocking was definitely better today, though. Opened up more holes for Blaylock. He obviously was slow against Auburn. The run blocking opened a lot of holes, and 78 yards was the result. I thought he looked really solid today, too.
Yeah, pretty good. Isaiah Satania, he's enjoyed his time at Oklahoma. He has his 3 best games receiving-wise in his career. This one's 75 yards off of 4 catches, 2 touchdowns. Also added a great deal in the punt return game, 5 returns for 97 yards. That was fantastic. And Tate Sandell, tied for 7th longest kick in OU history, tied
I think what they say, 4th longest here at
4th
the
longest in Norman, 7th longest in program history. He tied the burrito bandit himself, Gabe Burkage, that kick from the Tulane game. And it leads into finally turning the page. We've been talking about it, but the team can talk about it. OU, Texas. It's not going to be College game day because Arch Manning, the greatest recruit that ever lived, and the Longhorns did not hold up their end of the bargain. They go down to Florida. They get their ass kicked in the early part of that game. They made it look a little bit better late, but Aber, the Longhorns limping into the Cotton Bowl, 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, we thought game day was going to be there.
Yeah,
had a
Reese
story
even alluded to it. The game day implications.
Yeah, and then Texas falls flat on its face. Will not be a battle of top 10 teams yet again. I think 2008, is that what we said, was the last time that OU Texas was a top 10 affair. So a little bit surprising there. But I think what happened with Texas today illustrates a difference in OU. And that's one of the things I'm writing about as we get the mower behind us.
The field looks great. So,
the field looks fantastic. But one of the things I'm writing about is just the fact that OU took care of business. They've had games at Kent State a few years ago where they sort of sleptwalked through a big portion of it. There was no sleepwalking today. There were things, again, like Carson said with Michael Hawkins, need to be cleaned up. The offensive line left some stuff out there, especially in the pass blocking game. I thought early they've got to take some steps forward. But on balance, this team was sharp and looked ready for the challenge next week versus overlooking a team like Kent State, which would have been really easy.
Yeah, that we talked about. The schedule sets up great if you take care of business against Illinois State, going into Michigan, against Temple, going into Auburn, and certainly today against Kent State, going into Texas. And Oklahoma certainly did that. Yeah, Derek Simmons probably had a day to forget it, right tackle. We'll break all that down in the big Certified Fresh post-game pod from the press box as soon as we get done, right? And Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. That is the website you can go to for all the post-game videos, all of our stories. I had the takeaways. Aber had the report card. Hoove with the stock report. Carson's going to be coming through tons of highlights, all that fun stuff. You can also head to Hoove's YouTube page, John Hoover Media. But other than the post-game pod and the midweek pod, we will now be headed down to Dallas. Hoove's going to be involved. Hoove will be down there. It'll be good. Carson obviously will be down there. Carson, this is your first OU Texas game?
This is, and I'm very excited.
Excellent. We'll have to get him some corny dogs.
Yes.
It's like, I got to take you to all the spots. So it should be a ton of fun. We got to get up to the press box, though, and start hammering away. Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com is the place to be. For Carson, for Aber, I'm Chapman, for Hoove back at home. Stick with us, and like we said, come back for that postgame pod here in a little bit. We'll talk to you.